Can you believe a king fell in love with a 7-year-old girl? No, it's not what you think. This is the story of Bhutan's King Jigme and Queen Jetsun, whose fairy tale romance began with an innocent childhood encounter and blossomed into a love that would change a nation. But with tradition demanding multiple wives for the king, will their love survive? Picture this. A 17-year-old prince meets a 7-year-old girl during a royal holiday. In a moment of childlike boldness, young Jigme declares, "When you grow up, I will take you as my wife." Little Jetsun, probably giggling, had no idea how true those words would become. But here's the catch. Bhutan's royal traditions expected kings to have multiple wives, usually sisters. Talk about family drama. Can you imagine the pressure on Jigme as he grew older? A centuries-old custom on one side, and his heart on the other. So, will their fairy tale love story crumble under the weight of royal duty? Or will it change the course of a nation's history? Let's find out. While fairy tales usually end with happily ever after, King Jigme's story was just beginning. He now had to navigate a minefield of royal expectations, including the long-standing tradition of marrying multiple wives. Would he bow to pressure or dare to rewrite the rules of Bhutanese royalty? Imagine growing up knowing that one day you'd be expected to marry not just one person, but several. And not just anyone, your wife's sisters. That's the reality King Jigme faced as he ascended to the throne of Bhutan. For centuries, Bhutanese kings had practiced polygamy, marrying multiple wives as a way to strengthen royal bloodlines and forge political alliances. This tradition wasn't just a suggestion, it was deeply ingrained in Bhutanese culture. King Jigme's own father, King Jigme Singye Wangchuk, had 4 wives, all sisters. Can you picture the family dinners? Talk about keeping it in the family. But here's where things get interesting. King Jigme found himself caught between 2 worlds. The weight of centuries-old tradition on one side and his deep love for Jetsun Pema on the other. The pressure was immense. The entire kingdom watched, wondering if their young king would follow in his father's footsteps. You might think, well, he's the king. Can't he just do what he wants? But it's not that simple. In Bhutan, these royal traditions aren't just empty customs. They're a vital part of the country's cultural identity. Choosing to break with tradition wouldn't just be a personal decision. It would be a statement that could shake the very foundations of Bhutanese society. So, what's a love-struck king to do? Should he honor the traditions that have shaped his country for generations? Or should he follow his heart and remain true to Jetsun Pema? As the years passed and their relationship grew stronger, King Jigme found himself at a crossroads. The nation held its breath, waiting to see if he would take more wives, as was expected of him. Would he choose Jetsun's sisters, as tradition dictated, or would he dare to be different? In a move that shocked many and delighted others, King Jigme made his choice. He decided to remain monogamous, breaking centuries of royal tradition. Can you imagine the buzz this created in Bhutan? It was like a real-life plot twist in a royal drama. This decision wasn't just about love. It was a turning point in Bhutanese royal history. By choosing to stay true to Jetsun, King Jigme wasn't just following his heart. He was making a bold statement about the future of the monarchy. He was showing that even the most deeply rooted traditions can evolve. But here's the kicker. King Jigme's choice wasn't just accepted, it was celebrated. The people of Bhutan, especially the younger generation, saw this as a sign of modernization. They admired their king for having the courage to prioritize love over convention. It's like he took the old fairy tale formula and gave it a modern twist. This royal love story became more than just tabloid fodder. It became a symbol of change, of progress, of a nation moving forward while still honoring its past. King Jigme and Queen Jetsun became role models, showing that it's possible to respect tradition while also forging your own path. As the world watched their fairy tale unfold, King Jigme and Queen Jetsun prepared to take an even bolder step. Can you imagine a wedding ceremony so groundbreaking it left an entire country in shock? That's exactly what happened on October 13, 2011. When King Jigme khesar namgyel Wangchuk of Bhutan married his commoner bride, Jetsun Pema. Picture this. A nation decked out in festive colors, streets lined with well-wishers, and an air of excitement that could rival any blockbuster movie premiere. The wedding was a blend of ancient Tibetan Buddhist traditions and modern touches, reflecting the couple's unique approach to royal life. As the ceremony unfolded in the historic Punakajong, a 7th century monastery fortress, anticipation built among the spectators. They knew they were witnessing history, but little did they know just how much this day would change their country. The bride, radiant in a traditional kira, walked down the aisle to meet her king. The couple exchanged vows and performed sacred rituals, honoring centuries of Bhutanese tradition. But then, something unexpected happened. Something that would make headlines around the world and leave the people of Bhutan gasping in surprise. In a moment that seemed to stretch for eternity, King Jigme leaned in towards his new queen. The crowd held its breath. And then, it happened. The king kissed Jetsun Pema on the lips, right there in front of everyone. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? Couples kiss at weddings all the time. But in Bhutan, this simple act was nothing short of revolutionary. You see, public displays of affection were a big no-no in Bhutanese culture. We're talking about a place where even holding hands in public was frowned upon. This wasn't just a kiss. It was a statement, a declaration that things were changing in the land of the Thunder Dragon. By this one simple act, King Jigme was telling his people that it was okay to show love openly, that affection wasn't something to be hidden away. Can you imagine the reaction? The gasps, the wide eyes, the excited whispers rippling through the crowd? It was like watching a real-life fairy tale, complete with a plot twist that no one saw coming. But here's the kicker. Instead of outrage or scandal, the people of Bhutan embraced this moment. They saw it as a sign that their young king was ushering in a new era of openness and modernity. It was like he had given them permission to express their own feelings more freely. This kiss wasn't just about King Jigme and Queen Jetsun. It was about an entire nation taking a step towards a more open, more expressive future. In that moment, centuries of social taboos began to crumble. Think about it. A single kiss, lasting just a few seconds, managed to change the course of a nation's culture. Talk about the power of love. But the impact of this moment went far beyond just social norms. It sent a powerful message about the kind of rulers King Jigme and Queen Jetsun would be. They weren't going to hide behind palace walls or ancient customs. They were going to be open, authentic, and in touch with their people. This wedding kiss became a symbol of Bhutan's transition into the modern world. It showed that the country could honor its rich traditions while also embracing change. It was like King Jigme and Queen Jetsun were saying, "We respect our past, but we're not afraid to create our own future." The wedding kiss was just the beginning of King Jigme and Queen Jetsun's royal revolution. Imagine a king who's present for his children's births, or a queen who's passionate about education reform. How far would this royal couple go to break the mold of traditional monarchy? Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because these royals are redefining what it means to wear a crown. Picture this. Instead of a grand palace with 100 rooms, Queen Jigme and Queen Jetsun chose to live in a modest one-story home. That's right, no towering turrets or gilded gates for this power couple. They're all about keeping it real. But it's not just their living arrangements that are shaking things up. King Jigme and Queen Jetsun are taking a hands-on approach to ruling that's leaving everyone speechless. Gone are the days of monarchs sitting on their thrones, issuing decrees from afar. These two are rolling up their sleeves and getting down to business. King Jigme isn't content with just wearing a fancy crown. He's out there, working tirelessly to improve living conditions in Bhutan. Whether it's visiting remote villages or launching development projects, he's showing that being king is about more than just looking regal. It's about making a real difference in people's lives. And Queen Jetsun? She's not sitting back and letting her husband do all the work. She's become a force to be reckoned with in her own right, focusing on education, healthcare, and cultural development. It's like she's on a mission to drag Bhutan into the 21st century, one project at a time. But here's where it gets really wild. Remember how shocking that public kiss was at their wedding? Well, King Jigme and Queen Jetsun weren't done breaking taboos. They've continued to show affection in public, holding hands and exchanging loving glances during official events. It's like they're saying, "Hey, Bhutan, it's okay to show love." And when it comes to family life, they're rewriting the royal rulebook. King Jigme was right there in the delivery room for the births of both their sons. Can you imagine? A king changing diapers and doing midnight feedings? It's a far cry from the distant father figure of traditional monarchies. Their approach to royal duties is equally groundbreaking. Instead of staying hidden behind palace walls, they're out there engaging with the public. They're approachable, relatable, and, dare I say it, normal. It's like they've taken the stuffy old idea of royalty and given it a fresh, modern makeover. But it's not just Bhutan that's taking notice. When King Jigme and Queen Jetsun met with Prince William and Kate Middleton, it was like a clash of royal worlds. The Bhutanese couple's down-to-earth approach stood in stark contrast to the more formal British royals. It was a powerful reminder of just how much they've shaken up the royal status quo. Their love story and progressive values have struck a chord with the Bhutanese people, especially the younger generation. They see King Jigme and Queen Jetsun as role models, proof that you can honor tradition while still embracing change. It's like they're leading Bhutan into a new era, one loving gesture at a time. King Jigme and Queen Jetsun's love story isn't just a fairy tale, it's a game changer for Bhutan. Their decision to stay monogamous and show affection publicly has turned tradition on its head. Can you believe it? A king who kisses his wife in public and helps change diapers. But it's not just about breaking rules. This royal couple is reshaping Bhutanese society. They're showing that love can triumph over centuries-old customs. The people, especially the younger generation, are taking notice. It's like watching a country slowly but surely embrace a more open, affectionate way of life. As King Jigme and Queen Jetsun continue to write their love story, one thing's for sure. They're not just changing their own lives, but the future of an entire nation. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other age-old traditions might love be able to change? As we unravel the tale of King Jigme and Queen Jetsun's love story, it's clear that their romance didn't just change their lives. It changed the entire nation. But if you think this royal saga was surprising, wait until you hear about Sheikh Al Maktoum's shocking battle with a life-threatening diagnosis. What his wife did next is something no one saw coming. You won't believe how this story unfolds. So, if you're ready for another jaw-dropping twist, click on the screen now and dive into a tale that will leave you absolutely speechless.